Hey gardeners, welcome back to my channel. My name is Trisha, and in today's video I'm finally going to be reviewing your guys' Chameleon Enclosure. So I know you guys have been wanting this for a very long time. All of the other times I did enclosure reviews, I did it at totally random times and there was no warning, so whoever was in it was in it. This time I actually planned it out and I said August 12th would be the day for submissions. Surprisingly enough, I feel like I got less submissions this way, which is, I don't know, I was expecting more, but honestly I'm really happy with what I got, so I'm really excited to start this video. And again, the 12th of next month I will be doing another review, although I'm not entirely sure which one I'm going to do yet, so I'll probably do a vote on Instagram, so stay tuned for that. But I'm definitely going to be doing more of these videos because they're so much fun and I absolutely love seeing your guys' enclosures. With all of that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start reviewing your guys' enclosures. So the first one that we are going to look at today is Reptilian Home. And this is for her little Jackson chameleon, which is absolutely adorable. I love the photo of it sleeping. So her enclosure looks like it is a Repti screen enclosure, which is 4 feet tall, 2 feet deep, and 2 feet wide. So that's a great size for a chameleon. I'm loving this little moss ramp that you have in there. That must be so much fun for your chameleon to climb on. I don't know where you got that. Please tell me if you can, because I'm really interested in that and I would love to try that out as well. But other than that, I'm really liking all of the plants that you have filling out the enclosures. I see that there's one main vine. My suggestion for this enclosure would be to add more vines. I do like all of the foliage that you have, but I feel like you could add even more, and it would be great to see some live plants in there as well. Really cool thing that I would suggest is putting pothos in this enclosure, especially towards the front right area because it looks kind of empty there. That would be a great way to fill it out. And pothos is very viney and you can like take the vines and fill it throughout the enclosure. And your chameleon can also climb on the vines as well. So I think that that would be a great addition to this setup. Other than that, I'm loving the lights. It is like the best thing ever when I see chameleons that have a proper UVB in their enclosure, because I'm so used to seeing enclosures where they have the little spiral UVB and that's just not adequate for a chameleon. So I absolutely love seeing like all of the submissions in today's video. They're pretty much on point with the UVB and it's just like, I feel blessed to see that. I just love it. So this is a beautiful enclosure. I love what you have going on. I would recommend maybe adding some more plants. I think live plants would be a great option for this chameleon as well. But thank you so much for sharing your enclosure. So next up, we are looking at Riley Blosser. So this is for a veiled chameleon named Joey. So this enclosure, I cannot tell. I think it's a screen enclosure, and it looks like we have the adequate UVB, which is fantastic. I love these branches going across this enclosure. It just really fills up all of that horizontal space and offers so much opportunity for a chameleon to climb around. There's beautiful live plants. Looks like we have pothos and an umbrella plant. Now I want to put an umbrella plant in my enclosure. I'm obsessed with this plant lately, and now seeing it in someone's enclosure, it just looks so good. I absolutely love it. I think one other thing that I would add possibly would just be maybe more plants along the side, just because you can see the sticks like where they end. I would fill in that space a little bit more. I love your little Buddha at the bottom, by the way, very cute. But other than that, I think that you're doing a great job and this setup is very gorgeous and I'm sure your chameleon is very happy, so thank you so much for sharing it. Next up we have Ella Hagebach. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm very sorry if I'm saying it wrong. So we are looking at a chameleon enclosure. This is another Repti 4-footer. Looks fantastic, proper UVB. So this one looks like it's very filled out. There's a lot of plant vines going on. There's one of the, it looks like a really big hammock for your chameleon to climb on in the center. Honestly, I think that what I would like to see in this enclosure would be some possible live plants. I think that that would look fantastic. It would also help with humidity as well. It's also just a great form of enrichment. So I think that that would be a great thing to add into this enclosure. Other than that, I do see that there are some like skinny vines. Maybe put some thicker vines or different types of woods and textures and feels for your chameleon. It'll just add that much more enrichment. But other than that, it looks like you're doing a great job and keep up the great work. So next up is Breeze Exotics, and she sent me her little dwarf chameleon And it is literally like the cutest, most stunning little chameleon I think I've ever seen. So thank you so much for sharing it. So we're looking at your enclosure and oh my god, okay, so I am so inspired by this because I absolutely love naturalistic backgrounds, and this is a 3-dimensional one for a chameleon, and that's something that I would be interested in applying to my chameleon's enclosure. But just seeing this just really shows like how amazing it looks, and all of the plants in different colors just really pop. It's so naturalistic and it adds a lot of enrichment for your animal as well. So it's just absolutely stunning. There's different things to climb on. Again, there's just plants everywhere. It's got to be spot on for humidity for that chameleon as well. So just a great job. And also my favorite thing is at the bottom, and that is leaf litter. Like, I'm obsessed with leaf litter, and I think that's like the ultimate finishing touch for an enclosure. So I think that this is just fantastic. You've done a great job. The only thing that I would add would maybe be possibly just some more vines or things to climb on. I do see that there are some in there. I would maybe just add a couple of more just for some more variety for your chameleon to climb on and fill out that space, even though it's pretty much filled out by plants. But you've done an amazing job. Thank you so much for sharing it. Next up, we have Andrea. I feel like that's how it has to be said. I'm sorry, I'm weird. Okay, so we are looking at a panther chameleon enclosure for this one. So I think this is another Reptilian 4-foot tall enclosure. Proper UVB, which is just the most satisfying thing ever. So I see a lot of different vines. There's live plants in this one, which I absolutely love. There's a really thick piece of driftwood type of branch in the back to climb on as well. So honestly, for this enclosure, what I would do is I would fill out that space more with plants. I like that you have live plants in here, but I would also suggest, if you can't just fill it all out with live plants, to use fake ones as well. It would be great if you used vines to wrap around all of those different vines that your animal can climb on. That would really help fill out the space, and empty space can just be stressful for chameleons, so you want to make them feel safe and secure within their enclosure, and by filling that out with foliage as much as you can, that would be really great for your chameleon. Of course, you still want them to have space to be able to walk around and not just get completely bombarded by plants, but I would fill it out a little bit more just for some more security. I think it would look better as well. But other than that, looks like you're doing a great job, so thank you so much for sharing it. Next up, we have K80's Critters. So this is for a panther chameleon, and oh my goodness, there's so much going on in this. I absolutely love it, and your chameleon is so pretty. So there are a lot of different plants in here, and honestly, I think it's a combination of real and fake. I can tell that there's a real one at the bottom, and then there's just so many different kinds. I love the variety that you have going on in here. It seems like a lot of the people just get like the most basic, like standard fake plants that you see at reptile stores, so it's cool when you see like different varieties like this. So I really like it. And there's definitely a lot of different things to climb on. So I don't know what I would add. I would maybe add different pieces of different types of wood to climb on. I think that that would be a good thing for enrichment, or maybe some cork bark. I think that would also go great in this enclosure. But thank you so much for sharing this one. So next up is Tess Sanderson. So we are looking at Cosmo's enclosure. So again, we have proper UVB, absolutely love it. There's a lot of vines, looks like there's some live plants at the very bottom. Everything is filled out with the plants and vines. So different things to climb on. If anything, I think I would add some more things to climb on, different textures and feels, maybe different types of wood for this one as well. I love the different vines that you have going on. I would maybe also try putting some live plants near the top to fill it out going towards the bottom, like a vine plant, like a pothos would be fantastic. So I would check out Josh's Frogs actually, because they have some amazing reptile safe options. So I would check them out and see if you could fill out some more space and just add some more enrichment for your chameleon. But other than that, you're doing a fantastic job. Next up, we have Barack Obama. So this is a custom 1.5 by 3.5 by 3 enclosure. It's not the prettiest, but it gets the job done. Honestly, like, I just see live plants, so I think that that is stunning. I'm already liking this. Because this is for a panther chameleon, I would recommend to get something a little bit taller and bigger. That way your chameleon just has more to do. For this enclosure, I think I would recommend to do something that has a little bit more height. I do like the way it looks, so I think that it's really cool. You've done a great job filling it out with those plants. There's a lot of different things to climb on for sure. I would maybe add a little bit more thicker branches and fill out the horizontal space a little bit more so that way your chameleon can climb. But other than that, I also see a naturalistic background. Again, I love the look of this so much. It looks so good. So yeah, I would just recommend possibly upgrading to something a little bit taller and maybe adding a couple more things to climb on. But other than that, you're doing a fantastic job. So next up we have Mary and crew. I love Mary and I love her enclosure. So the first thing that I see when I see all of this is just colors, and they're just so pretty. I absolutely love it. And of course, proper UVB, which is essential. So this is a really cool enclosure. That little ladder is so cute, and then there's a little feeding dish at the top of it. There's vines throughout the enclosure. There's some pothos and fake plants. Absolutely love it. I think that something I would add to this enclosure would maybe be some more things to climb on, or maybe fill in the space towards the front with a live plant. I think that maybe a tree type of a plant in the front would be really cool to fill in that space and give your chameleon something more to climb on. Or maybe some cork bark, just different textures and feels for your animal just to add some enrichment. But honestly, like, you've done a fantastic job filling this out, and I'm sure your chameleon is so happy. I love that little girl so much. So thank you so much for sharing. Next up is Abby Loves Reptiles. So this is for her veiled chameleon. I see another ladder. These ladders are so cool. Where are you guys getting them from? Like, I love that. I would definitely get that for Van, but I think he would utilize that. Again, I see some fake plants throughout the enclosure and a couple of thin vines, and then there's thicker ones towards the bottom. I think that a tree would honestly go well in this enclosure too, just to fill out that space towards the front. It's so awkward with like a 4-foot tall enclosure sometimes to like fill out that space. So the corn plant that I have really helps with that, because it starts near the bottom and then it branches out towards the middle, and it just really helps fill it in. So I think that that would be a good option as well. I might add some more thicker branches, just different things to climb on. Again, textures and feels. I know I'm always saying that phrase, but it's so important when it comes to enrichment. But yeah, other than that, I think that this looks absolutely stunning. I'm sure your chameleon loves it. And again, thank you so much for sharing it. Next up, we have Savannah's Pets. So this is for a chameleon. It's a 24 by 24 by 48. Looks like we have proper UVB, which is fantastic. And you are making use of a corn plant, which is so perfect. I love how they fill out the enclosures. It just looks so good. I love it. So something that I want to ask about this enclosure, actually, I can see that you have sticks going across and they're secured to the side somehow. And I would love if you would tell me how you did this, because that just looks very secure. And like, I always have a hard time like securing my stuff in my chameleon enclosure. So any tips are welcome. Like, I'm very interested in how you did this, and I think it looks really, really good. So it just looks so naturalistic as well, but also secure at the same time. And I'm just like living for it. So please tell me your magic, because I need to know. And then everything is just completely filled out with like plants, whether it's live plants or fake plants. I love both. So honestly, just thank you so much for sharing, and please share some wisdom with me, because I'm very curious how you did that. Next up is the Van Sickle Herps. So this is for a male veiled chameleon. Again, we have another ladder. I guess chameleons are just like, the thing with chameleons is ladders. And I am not in on it, and I need to get in on it. So we have vines going throughout the enclosure. We have some fake plants. There's actually, I think, some live pothos. It might be fake. I can't really tell. There's a little feeding dish, proper UVB. So honestly, for this one, I would like to see more horizontal space filled out with things to climb across from side to side. I would also fill it out with even more plants, just for some more security. Really fill out that center as well. Another corn plant or something in the center, something big that they can also climb on would be fantastic and help fill out the space. But other than that, it looks really, really good. So keep up the good work. Oh wait, she sent one more. So we're also looking at a panther chameleon. So, Okay, one thing that I see with this enclosure, I can see that the plants that you're using in these are fabric. So I would just be mindful of that because bacteria can grow on that fabric very easily, especially because chameleons have a high humidity requirement. So it can get a little dangerous when you're using fabric plants. I would suggest maybe using some plastic types of fake plants or just going with live plants to just be safe. But I would switch those out just because of that issue. You don't want your chameleon. They're just so sensitive. You don't want there to be any respiratory issues or bacterial issues. So definitely switch that out if you can. I do like that there's different things to climb on. Again, I would just fill out the space more and switch out the plants for a different type. But again, thank you so much for sharing. Sardonicallart. Probably said that wrong. I apologize. So this is for a beautiful, beautiful panther chameleon, and it has a naturalistic background, which I absolutely love. It looks so good. I love the live plant that you have planted on the left. There's live plants throughout this entire enclosure, different types of wood, a proper UVB. Oh my goodness, there's so much enrichment. I love this so much. So I think the only thing that I would add would just be potentially more horizontal things to climb on throughout the enclosure. It can be kind of hard for a chameleon to climb on just plants, and they may ruin them too, but it looks like yours are doing perfectly fine. I would just possibly add some more different things to climb on, but other than that, it looks spot on, and I really like your enclosure, so thank you so much for sharing it. Next up, we have Kaylee Chico Pets. Chico Pets? I don't know if I said that right. I apologize. So I'm not sure what size enclosure this is or what kind it is. It looks really unique and cool. It looks like there's a corn plant in there, another live plant that I don't know the name of because I'm terrible with plant names, but this looks really, really cool. I would add more things to climb on. I can see that there's one thick branch on the left, but I don't really see other things to climb on as much. Sometimes it's just hard to tell from a picture, so there may be something that I just can't see. But one suggestion I would make would just be to add more things to climb on, thinner branches as well for your chameleon to grip on safely. But other than that, I'm digging the live plants and it looks really good. Next up, we have Basil Exotics. So this is for a veiled chameleon and it's super cute. And this is so cool. I love when people do this. It's just like one giant pot of a plant and then it just like fills out everything. Like that's like such a good focal way to just fill out all of that empty space. And then there's a rope going across. Very cool. I like that idea as well. Proper UVB, noted. And then there are some fake plants to help fill it out along the side. So one thing that I would recommend is to possibly add, I can see that you have like little bamboo sticks all along the top. I would maybe do that again near the bottom where the pot is. That way your chameleon can climb down there as well. I think that other than that, everything is like so filled out and on point that there's really nothing else to even add other than just filling out that empty space at the bottom. So thank you so much for sharing. Next up is Tess Sanderson. So this is for Cosmo. And he's so adorable. So this is another Repti-Breeze looking enclosure with vines, and it looks like there's a little bridge to climb at the top, and there's proper UVB, which is fantastic. I think that I would add some live plants. I feel like this enclosure needs some live plants. Some pothos would be fantastic. I love pothos. So I don't know. Other than that, I would possibly also add some more different types of wood textures for your chameleon to climb on. I can see that you have a lot of those. I'm not sure what they're made out of. It's like the dark vine that you can like buy. It's like a reptile vine that you can get at like any reptile store. I would recommend adding just some more textures and feels with like maybe some cork bark or what is it called? Or maybe some driftwood throughout the enclosure. I think that that would be fantastic. Next up, we have Giblin Seagull, and this is for a veiled chameleon. So this is for a baby, so it is in a smaller type of enclosure. So flat out, I think I would recommend to just like upgrade right away because chameleons grow so quickly. I think that it's best to just upgrade them when you can. I would definitely recommend filling out this enclosure with vines, different things to climb on. I see that you have a fake plant on the ground and then one on the side. There needs to be a lot of horizontal climbing space for your animal. That way it can get up near the basking area and thermoregulate as needed. I don't see that you have a UVB in this photo. You may have it, it's just not on or something, but you do want to make sure that you have the proper UVB. You're going to want a T5 5.0 for a veiled chameleon, and you're definitely going to want to have a basking area and different places for your chameleon to climb and go throughout the enclosure and thermoregulate as needed and get the UVB as needed as well. So, and then also you're just going to want to completely fill out the enclosure with plants and foliage. That way your chameleon can feel safe within the enclosure. I do see that you have it in glass. Some people keep their chameleons in glass and they do it perfectly fine. I just don't recommend it for beginners just because a lot of the time there can be bacterial issues and they're just very, very sensitive animals and they need proper ventilation. So just because you have your chameleon in a glass right now, I would just recommend that you are keeping up on things and making sure that it's getting plenty of ventilation, but you're also hitting that humidity as well. Next up is I Say Yes, and this is for a chameleon named Yoshi. So we have some vines going throughout this enclosure, proper UVB, a drip machine, and some fake plants. So I want to see more plants in this enclosure. Just fill out all of that empty space. You've done a great job on the right. I would just recommend doing that in the middle and on the left as well. The more the better, as long as your chameleon can still climb through everything and have access to it and it's not getting in the way. But yeah, I think that that looks great. You're off to a great start, and thank you so much for sharing it. Next up is Cedric Bauerertz. Wow, I probably butchered that like crazy. I apologize. So this is for a veiled chameleon. I am not sure if this is, I think they're fake plants, the palm tree plants, and then you got like fake monstera, which I don't know where you got this stuff, but I'm loving it. It's very, very pretty. And I like the different textures and feels. You have different types of woods and vines and textures throughout this enclosure. It looks so good. I would possibly just add maybe some like skinny vines throughout this enclosure, more horizontal climbing space, and maybe just fill out a little bit more with some more plants, even though you've already done so much. I think maybe just that back right corner, put a plant there as well. Maybe put some vines with plants going through the enclosure. There's just so many possibilities when it comes to chameleons. But this looks so good, so thank you so much for sharing it. All right, so next is Chest Broad. So this is her enclosure. So this is the enclosure, and it says that they plan on building a 7-foot tall enclosure, which is fantastic. I'm sure your chameleon is going to love that. I can see the little chameleon in the back right now. Again, we have a little ladder, we got some fake vines. So I would just add more enrichment, different textures and feels, different types of woods, different size vines for your chameleon to climb on horizontally throughout the enclosure. And again, I think some live plants would do great as well and just offer some more enrichment and raise the humidity for you. So that's something else I would suggest. But other than that, you're doing a great job. Next up, we have Neptune the chameleon. So first of all, I love this girl, and if you guys are into chameleons, you should all go check out her YouTube channel because she has like such spot on information and she's just really cool, and she has gorgeous chameleons as well, and her care is just so perfect. So please go check her out if you can. So we're going to go ahead and look at her enclosures. Her enclosures are screen enclosures, proper UVB, lots of live plants, lots of foliage, different things to climb on. I honestly, like, you are a chameleon queen. I don't think I have anything to add for your enclosures because they're just so good and you know exactly what you're doing. So just keep up the fantastic work, and everyone go check this girl out. Next up, we have Yoshi the Cam. It seems like a lot of people named their chameleon Yoshi, which is like the cutest thing ever. So this enclosure is another 4-foot long screen enclosure. This one has really filled out. I like that you put the little hammock on the left that your chameleon is climbing in. I didn't even realize he was there. He's like camouflaged so well. It's just so funny. Again, we have some live plants near the bottom and then fake plants going all throughout everywhere. You can see different types of woods throughout the enclosure for your chameleon to climb on. Just absolutely fantastic. I don't have anything to add. You're doing a fantastic job. And then we have another one. This person did not want their name mentioned. They just wanted a review. So this one is going to be a secret and no one will know who it's from. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at it. So this is a veiled chameleon. So it looks like they have the proper UVB. I can already tell just from that little spot in the corner. And then there's a little hammock and some things to climb on and some fake plants. So for this enclosure, I would recommend to fill it out with maybe some more horizontal climbing places for your chameleon to go. I would also upgrade if possible, just because it does seem a little bit crammed. I would offer a little bit more space for your chameleon. It would just give them so much more opportunity for enrichment as well. I would like to see some more plants. I think live plants would be great. I do see a little waterfall. Waterfalls can be a little bit dangerous just because chameleons are just so sensitive, and usually it's best to avoid them with chameleons because the water, like if they poop in it or food gets in it or whatever the case may be, it can end up being a bacterial issue and you just don't want to end up with a sick chameleon because of something like that. So I would recommend to take the little waterfall out just to be safe. I do see that you're keeping your chameleon in a glass enclosure. You just want to keep an eye on the ventilation. Make sure that you're, again, not going to be exposing your chameleon to any bacterial issues or respiratory issues. So just keep an eye on all of those things, maybe a possible upgrade, but other than that, I think those are my only recommendations for this one. And the last one for today is not a ginger kid. And we are looking at, I think it's a veiled chameleon enclosure, but I know it's for a chameleon at least. So we have a little hammock at the top with, it looks like a little food dish. We got some fake plants, we got some thick vines. So what I would like to see in this enclosure is more vines going horizontally throughout the enclosure, just for more things for your chameleon to climb on. Also different sizes for them to grip onto, I think would be great for them as well. I do like the plants that you're using. I would fill it out even more, maybe potentially add some live plants as well. It would really help fill out the bottom too. I do see that you have a water bowl at the bottom. Chameleons don't really drink from water bowls. Maybe yours does, but I would recommend to use a misting machine instead because they like to drink when they see movement, and it would be great for your chameleon to be able to hydrate itself appropriately. So that's something that I would add to this enclosure as well. But other than that, looks like you're doing a great job, so thank you so much for sharing it. And that completes today's video, so I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing all of these beautiful chameleon enclosures, and then I hope that whoever I reviewed, it was helpful and you guys aren't angry at me or anything. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you to everyone who participated. I will have submissions for the next reptile enclosure review on the 12th of every month. I'm not sure what the next one is going to be specifically, but stay tuned on my Instagram to figure that out. So yeah, I can't wait to see more of your guys' enclosures. I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next one.